Toobin.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
Toobin.
and yeah, that's the other thing. Toobin, like OJ is sitting here talking about football, and we're going like, OJ, this is not what we want to hear from you. Toobin can go on and talk about OJ, and it's like, Jeffrey, this is not what we want to hear from you. Explain.
Well, Toobin hasn't said
Explain.
shit, has he? I mean, he's
Nothing. Not a
Wait,
word.
did
He's
you
disappeared.
guys hear what happened to Jeffrey Toobin? This is his Zoom mistake.
Dude, I
This
want you to
comedian
start
who
doing
steps
podcasts.
away for a while and comes back into the business and is completely off in his timing.
Do you understand? If you did that character, if you did a podcast tour, if you did all the comics podcasts as that character, I would listen to every single one.
That's comedian who is probably at one point tried to hurt himself and has been put on medication and is now getting back into it, and everybody likes him, so they're really afraid to upset him. Like, 'cause I have a lot of friends and my friends love me, so they want to be encouraging. So you just did you zoom? Oh my God! Talk about zooming. You know. I mean,
dude.
when that happened, I thought he had better zoom out of that room.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, who would have expected it from Jeffrey Toobin of all people, right?
Yeah.
there's a time and a place, Jeffrey. The crowd is like, thanks.
Yeah, and then you just kind of fade off like you hit a home run and wait for the next moment. I love guy who stepped away from the business and is now trying to get back into it slowly. That's my favorite.
Maybe my favorite character you've ever done. Might be my favorite you've ever done. Like I want you to do other people's shows
I would love to.
as that guy just trying to fit in.
Yeah, I was just like trying to riff.
Yeah, not like being slightly off, like just a couple months late on topical stories.
And stepping on timing by like that. Just, you know, like when people are flowing and there's always that one fucking oaf who wants to jump in. And I don't mean with a bomb. We all bomb, but they're clumsy. They're a clod. They're an emotional verbal clod. And they they trample into the fucking bit and they wreck it. Like that's the guy who stepped away and he's not coming back.
Right. Yeah, like when you go on and everybody is having a good time and just a statement gets made and the entire room feels, oh, it's over. Why'd you
ruin it?
oh.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
why'd you do
And it's
that?
not like
We were having a
Chip.
good
Chip is a different thing. This is guy who really is just trying to make it work again. Guy who once had it and has lost it after trying to harm himself and be put on medication. he acted. He took an act of self-harm, and then they loaded him up, and he has that white stuff in the corner, and he's really trying, and his friends still love him.
Guys, this next comic, he stepped away from the game for a while, but man, he was one of my guys in the late 90s. Please give him a lot of love.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Hey,
2 peas in a podcast, right?
Oh.
What are you drinking?
Weird. Yeah,
What
man.
is- wait, what is that?
Interesting weather we're having.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Early
love that
40s in
guy that-
Vegas, I saw.
Yeah. Wait, early 40s in Vegas. Yeah, that means I guess Bugsy Siegel.
Yeah. I loved it. I loved it. He's at his stage in the game where he's like commenting and marveling at just being on a podcast.
Yeah.
Like the thing that podcasts have been
he
around for
stepped
years.
away.
Everybody kind of
He
takes it
stepped
for
away.
granted. But he's like, what are we all out here podcasting, huh?
Yeah. He stepped away
Yeah.
after an act of self-harm.
Yeah. We all know the guy. But we're not addressing
No.
the thing. We're all sensitive to it.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
all give him the extra laugh, we give him the benefit of a doubt, but we're not gonna bring up the ugly times.
Yeah, the fact that we know that he's on something, and it's because his fastball is now 58 miles an hour.
Oh.
We should wrap things up. I mean,
Yeah, we should. It's mainly because it's not going to get better than the invention of that character. But Sam Morril, who is still very much in the game, will be doing a virtual show Monday, March 22nd for Nowhere Comedy. You can get your tickets on Sam Morril's website. You can get Sam's podcasts all over the place, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts in audio form. Pod Don't Lie is the basketball podcast. We Might Be Drunk is the drunk podcast. And then, of course,
you should get me on that one. You should get me with you and Mark, because I have got so many stories, man. Like, I mean, like crazy, stories.
Here's the genius of it. That, stories. Like, it's just that, like, you're just waiting. Like, give me something. And it's just not there.
Yeah. It's literally a guy that you like who has become a monumental dud. And you know it. You know he's going to suck on your fucking podcast.
The sober guy, too, is like my friend just became sober, and he was a great drunk. It was tough for me that he became sober because I liked him better as a drunk, unfortunately. Like, he was a really fun. He was the drunk who was, like, always high-fiving and laughing, and now he's like, sure. I was a real problem. And I'm like, you weren't. I liked you a lot. You were great. And he's like, no, I was terrible. And I'm like, dude, you literally tell me, all you do now is tell me how bad you were and what you're reflecting on. As a drunk, all you did was laugh. You were fucking awesome. You know?
I was, I've been out of it for a while, but how long you guys been doing the podcast?
We've only done 14 episodes, but
you know what
fun.
you need?
I feel like
it's cool, but here's what would be really funny. If I would come on as like you guys are I'm like your designated driver, and like you guys tell stories and I'll field them, and I'll throw in a few crazy ones of my own.
I like it.
Oh.
Perfect.
I cringe to think what those few crazy ones of your own might be.
Yeah.
Just the DD. Everybody needs the DD, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't mean. What else are you plugging? You're plugging the podcast with Mark.
We Might Be Drunk with Mark Norman, and then of course Up on the Roof.
Cool.
Is the special that Sam Morril shot earlier this year that's available on his YouTube channel. That's the other thing, that guy who stepped out of the game for a little while after an incident of self-harm, but is back, wouldn't really have his head wrapped around the premise of doing specials on YouTube. Like, he'd think like still the HBO hour is what you're going for.
Yeah, I mean, like if you wanted to get somewhere like YouTube, I mean, it's like comedy on the road. Like, there's a lot better ways to do it. I mean, the show on A&E, Comedy on the Road. That's the best way to do it. Get yourself on television or evening at the Improv, YouTube.
It is fucking funny how you're just like, I was in LA and they brought me on stage. This new guy's got a YouTube
man, what a
special.
bunch of phonies out there.
Oh, whoa. I didn't realize we were going to get controversial here on the show, Jim. I didn't realize. I mean, I know you've been out of the game for a while, but I didn't realize you were still this kind of edgy. What do you mean about the phonies in LA?
Just all phony.
How so?
Ah, please. Come on, these bullshitters. You know, Sam.
No, you just bring up a point, you have no story, and then you put it in the podcast.
It's a bland shit point, and you peter out immediately. You started at 1, and you immediately peter down to 0.
Because this character's never been to Los Angeles.
And he's not a fucking guy who's good at podcasting, so he's just trying to make a comeback. He's trying to make a comeback, but his mind is
because he's
very
never done a
slow.
podcast. He's never done a podcast. He doesn't understand the way they work, but he knows that that's the thing now, and he's back. He's back in the game. He's on his way back.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. What were we saying?
I don't know. Just when you're in LA, it's like a lot of comedy audiences still don't realize that YouTube is a good place to put a special. So I put it on there, and they're like, this next guy's got a YouTube special, and it got a huge laugh. And you're like, oh shit, they don't realize that's not a dumb move anymore. That used to be like a punchline. That used to be like, they bring you up, oh, this next guy, you've seen his stuff on YouTube, but now it's like, no, it's actually good.
Yeah, no, what's that? Well, YouTube, and then what do you do? I mean, you know, what are you on MySpace doing stand up? I mean, come on. And that's the face he'd have in between thoughts.
Yeah, because he's struggling.
And he's stupid and struggling.
And he's medicated as well.
Yeah, to prevent further acts of self-harm. Yeah.
We can't forget that it was an act of self-harm that took him out of the games. So
Yeah.
he's medicated.
Yeah, he's
so
back
he's slowed down a little.
better than ever. That's what he's telling people. I'm back and better than ever.
That's why that bottom
better.
lip doesn't really move. Like he doesn't really emote very well because he's fairly medicated.
Yeah, mouth is half open. A true stupid asshole.
Got that patented, as pointed out by Jim Norton, white spittle in the corners of his mouth.
Yeah, nothing worse than when somebody goes through a depression and comes back and they have the built-up white shit in the corner of their mouth. You're like, oh, you're going to be a fucking delight. Can't wait to talk to you for a half hour about how it's going.